Hey, my name is Emma Linsenmeyer, and today we'll be presenting on how to build a resume from scratch. Okay, so let's get started. There's pretty much five basic components that go into building a resume. So we'll be looking at five main objectives. The first one's personal information, then the objective in education, then experience, activities and leadership, and then finally your skills and ability to make sure that you're competent for your job. So let's first look at the personal information that goes into it. Now, a resume can be a first impression for a recruiter to see if you match up for a job that they have for you. So make sure that it's professional by having a consistent, readable font, labeling a certain margin, and making sure that it's cohesive across the board helps greatly whenever a recruiter is looking at it and is a good first impression. Make sure that it's also a single page document. Oftentimes, a freshman who's coming into this may not exactly see the necessity of having a single page, but for a recruiter who's looking for through a lot of applications, he's not going to want to look over your entire life story and see a multiple page book of what you've done. He wants it to be a simplified version of the most important things that are apparent and applicable to what he has for you. Now include your name, your professional email, that could be your school email, and phone, and it's optional to include your address. And then here is a sample resume of what it can look like. So we'll see here how this person, Jack Anderson, has their address. He decided to include it, and then also their phone and email listed. Now the second part that we'll look at is the objective in education. Now, for this objective, you're basically wanting to put a statement of what you're looking for in this job or applying to this occupation, what you want to see happen from it. So be simplistic, purposeful, and clear. So you could say something like, I am looking for an internship in the field of electrical engineering for the summer of 2022 or 2023. You can see how it's a statement, just one statement across your page, and that it is purposeful, and your recruiter can say, oh yes, I remember how this person is looking for this. Let's see if it matches up with what we have to offer. However, for freshmen, if you are not specific or married to one specific type of engineering or an internship, it's best to keep it broad and to display something that you're open to a certain option that an employer has for you. Now, as far as education goes, state your most recent degree or education. So that could be what you're pursuing at the institution that you're at currently. Include your overall GPA, and then also include where you're going to school, and then the projected year of graduation. That way, the recruiter has in mind, okay, maybe I can get this person for a job in this many years. And we can look at what that looks like on a sample resume as well. So we see here how the objective has just a one sentence for clarity, and then the education also follows that same pattern where they state the degree, graduation date, their institution, and then their overall GPA. The GPA is really important to include just to see how that way your recruiter can see if you're doing well in your classes and whether you're actually be able to follow through well, because that's going to be important in a job in the end. Now, the next thing we'll be looking at is the experience. Now, this experience is going to be somewhat different than instead of being in the order of what like you first did this job at the bank and then you're moving to this internship, you're going to say it with what you are currently doing right now. So that's what it means by reverse chronological. Say your experience in what is most relevant to you currently, and then you can list in 3 to 5 bullet points describing what exact work responsibilities you did and what exactly the job day-to-day looked like. Now, make sure this is interesting. Include action words such in action verbs. That way, the recruiter is going to be more interested to find out what is actually going on. If you're not interested, then your recruiter will not be interested. Now, include any internships or any relevant work experience. This does not have to be engineering specific. So, if you're new to college and you're just coming in as a freshman and you don't have any engineering experience, but you've mowed lawns and you've babysat, put that on there so that so that the recruiter knows that you have had experience in something. And this format can as follows: the title, position, then your name of organization, location, dates, and etc. Now, looking over at the sample resume, you'll see that this is exactly what it has here as well. You have the title of the job, and then where the name of the company, and then where it was held, as well as dates, and then a few bullet points that include what exactly it looked like day to day. Make sure to include a minimum of 2 to 3 bullet points, but no more than 5 bullet points. Now, if you look, the next thing that we'll be looking at is the overall activities and leadership that you've had throughout college or your experience so far. Now, the main thing that a recruiter wants to see from this is that you are involved and are well rounded in many different areas rather than just being in engineering. Now, he wants to see that you're involved. So if you have different awards like Eagle Scouts or Congressional Award or Gold Award, these can be kind of a buffer room if you don't have a lot of things on your resume, but you've done one of these things or something other than this. You can put that on there. It's not really a necessity, but if you need some extra space, you can put that on there, maybe a sentence or two or a sentence to add on it. But really include what you're doing at this moment. Include what you're doing right now. So include any leadership experience, where that's held, what skills you're using in that activity, and then also include just the different campuses and clubs that you're in and whether you're a member of them, and then include the dates that you're in that as well. Now, if you're involved off the campus and you're doing community service or just different service hours around the different area, just include that too in a descriptive sentence about what you're doing there as well. Now, this can also look like on the resume being a part of a different activities here on campus, whether that's student council or student government association. Just include what you're doing in those different councils and then include the dates that you are a part of them. Now, the next part that we'll be looking at is of the skills and abilities that you have that are necessary for this job. This is important because a recruiter is going to be looking for, can this person actually do this job? If they need to know this coding language, do they actually know it? So include those technical skills. If you have certifications that are up to date and that are just different things that you've worked on, include those as well. Include the years of if they expire, make sure to include them. And then any known computer languages that you have or other skills. Now, if you display them in column format, like across the page, then that will help just take up less space rather than listing them out in a different view. If you're bilingual, this is also really important and a good moneymaker too if a recruiter has seen this and you also need to do this. So we'll look at what this looks like on a sample resume as well. Now for this one, you can see how this person has had many different coding languages and is also has a certification, but then also in the languages, he's also fluent in Spanish. So therefore, you can just have a variety of experience that recruiter is looking for. Now, the final thing that we'll look at is just the overall resume. Once you're all done, you've given a lot of thought, what does that actually look like? Now we can see here how the margins and the print across the page is very cohesive and works well and is pretty readable. So if a recruiter is going to come to look at this, there's going to be some memorable points from this resume that can help you be a memory trick for him to be able to remember you in the long run a little later for that possible job or internship. Overall, the resume is a professional way for you to get your foot in the door and to make that initial contact with an employer and for a potential job opportunity that could be life-changing for you in the future. And that is all I have for you. Thank you so much.